Hello. One.
It's already on, you can continue.
Right. Hello. So, let me start with my next phase of the so called 3D printing, or as a subset of in general rapid prototyping for design. Now, the issue in design is that we need to make new products. At one extreme, we make products only for our own what you call happiness about it, which probably a bit of art, little bit of singing, a little bit of what you call arranging your own immediate environment like landscape, you do it for yourself. If you get appreciation, it is fine, otherwise there is no issue about it. Second is commission, meaning somebody likes your work and they commission it, saying kindly make something for me. Then finally, when the industrial revolution came, this whole concept of making products for manufacturing in the industry has come about. So, if you have the patience, please go to the industrial design website and see what all you can do. So, typically you have things like Core 77, then you have so many of them, including frog design, and everybody you know about it probably has a website and their own opinion about, I will not say opinion, their own take about what design is as it applies to their field and their familiar. So, I will put it aside. It is all about how to make new objects, and to make a new object quickly we need to produce it and show it to somebody, either you understand what it is or you show it to somebody else. So, we have a need for it. So, let us say there is a student who needs to study for an exam. This is a small book, in fact, it is a very, very small book. You have seen it, and last when I check it says, oh, 930 pages. I expect people are expected to read it. If you ask me, have you read it? Yes and no. Relevant parts yes, but not relevant to me, I have just thumbed or browsed through them. So, you see here the cover itself, it shows all about CAD CAM. This book itself is actually quite old. The one we have is I do not know, anyway let me, the original was very, very, very old. It says 2005. Good enough. Now, let us say a person is preparing for these things here. You see here, it is closely packed equations. So, these equations have two types. So, one of them thing is a little bit of theory, identifying a particular equation and applying it in the real life. Now, this is where one of my students wanted to make a product which makes not learning writing a test easier. So, when you want to write a test, invariably you have a time constraint. So, the basic time constraint is the test probably runs as per a clock. See here, I have this clock. I am sure all of you know are a little familiar with it, something which as you say, not all people are morning people, and some people, at least the late risers, think it is okay to get rid of the morning people, but however you cannot get rid of exams, because exams seem to be the one that will give you a chance to be take a but take a chance to go on to the next stage to get an opportunity. So, the starting point is obviously a time. So, right now there is no issue about it, at least when we grew up. The wristwatches were not very popular for various reasons, because I went through a strict school by which they wanted everybody to be about the same. Occasionally they do now with respect to mobile phones. Mobile phones are not allowed, you are expected to park it outside. Same thing with all these high tech devices. Right now I have a high tech device, and in this package probably it is very easy to cheat. So, you have no access to a wristwatch or a pocket watch or anything. And in fact, because all of these things have Bluetooth and they have capability to interact with your phone, and even if your phone is just outside the window, you can do it. So, you only have a clock which is a wall clock, okay, and you need to time yourself. So, if you have this wall clock like this, which is fixed by definition of wall clock, or you have a table clock, the teacher points out at the clock, or the test administrator points out at the clock, saying the test is about to start at 10:30 and you have to write complete within 1 hour, and in between we would not like to disturb others. So, kindly you too do not disturb your friends. If you want to get the time, please look at it, and just 5 minutes before we give the stop signal, we will announce it, and exactly at 1 hour at say 11:30 you need to stop writing and turn the paper and blah 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 and all that. Now, all tests have become tick the right answer type. You understood, no? They have usually, I will just give you, if it is a 60 what you call 60-minute this thing, at least 1/4 of them, that is for 15 minutes you probably have 15 questions where you can quickly tick. Ticking time is important, they are familiar, meaning if you have a sequence, no, suppose you have typically say 0, 1, then 1, 2, 3, 5, the sequence, 8 and so on, and one of the thing is they will give you the next few numbers saying tick the correct answer. And the advantage of it is, once you do the marking, either the teacher can have a template which she can see, or a machine automatically recognize the optical character mark. So, we have OCM and OCR, optical character recognition character things. All of them depend on pencil, all of them depend on total time, and how do you apportion your time. So, when people study for the exam, one of the earliest things they do is probably get this monster. Big problem we have, that is why I use the example of something which is actually 60 minutes. So, I will just wind it, I wind it to the next this thing, let us say 30 minutes, but still it is a distraction. I have to keep looking at it for every minute or every 5 minutes, and then when I turn it back, horrible sounds it gives, most irritating, and you will not be motivated further because of this thing. And in fact, one of our famous universities have made a alarm clock which if I try to swat it, it will run away. So, now one of the students wanted to time his experience in responding to answers. So, obviously something and all is required in it. One of it is about the timer. Secondly, you need to write and tick. So, I have gathered various objects, I am sure some of you may have seen it. Again, this is just to demonstrate to my students in the class, we have taken it. This is probably a candle holder, okay, and it does not matter about the faith or religion or anything. This candle holder looks a little like a teapot, and a cup has been created which looks a little like a blue teapot. Right now I have not put everything. Originally there is an idea of keeping an LED lamp here which was only distracting. If it is only a decorative piece, it is like that, otherwise I can always fill it with some this thing or coat it inside with a blue color thing, and if I change the cap I get a different color. For some reason in classes and all that, so called royal blue is preferred for this. Now it comes to this quill, seen that. Now this quill has been made intentionally to be a little decorative, seen this, and there is a ballpoint pen refill here, there is a cap here, I can pull it out and I can replace it whenever I want. Can you see it? I have a ballpoint refill. So, it was a good idea to make this. So, what I do is I start my test and I try to learn how to answer my things, how well I can hold it. In real life of course you will not have it, some of the places they give a pencil, some of the places they give a pencil saying you can what do you call, tick with a pencil, and they also give an eraser, so that in case you want you can change it like that. Eventually towards end you are allowed to ink those things permanently, or alternatively if you have a good dark pencil, you need to darken it and it stays, and by mistake if you do two of them, we have a little problem. Latest online we have even avoided this, but generally people use a marker here. Probably it is a genuine what you call ballpoint with a liquid ink. So two things, good enough, is it not? We need to make a product which has all these capabilities. One of them is, as soon as I finish a tick, the timer should give me a lap time, a stopwatch lap time. In fact, I have seen some mobile apps in which stopwatches are built. So let me check if stopwatches are there. This is a normal stopwatch with, it has been started, and various types of alarms and all inside, but this that the project I am going to show was made long ago, and it is a dedicated thing. So you do not need to recharge, you do not need to do much, and it just works, you understand, no? Now apps are available, but then this is a little distracting. If you talk about apps now, they are slightly distracting. So we have this nice thing, and whenever I want I can make a lap. You see here, how long it has taken. I have a big list of these things. I can probably upload it to my what you call favorite storage and then try to use these things. Only nuisance with this is often unwanted distraction will be there, because it may be trying to place calls, or some internally that system now may try to get into maintenance, including updating and all that, and while some of it is okay, some of it is not so good okay. The latest one thing which we had was saying it had a thumb what do you call this fingerprint recognition also. So the teacher takes it and passes it around the class, and it does everything, it marks attendance. Another variant of it is using this thumb thing, that is, after I finish ticking, I give a tick on the that the OMR sheet, and then I also press this. You tick, press it like that, it will give me a total list of questions and so on. While it is okay at one level, it is not a full product, because anybody can make it and you cannot sell it as a separate item. So which will bring back to the things which I have here. So if you see here, so started looking for a timer, saying I am sure some of you are familiar with what is called the egg timer. So that it will not be distracting, I will show you the egg timer eventually, you understand, no? So we have these egg timers. Similarly, we have various types of okay, anything related to this. So good old three-minute sand egg timer like this. So you put the what I call hourglass, turn it over, and it this thing. I mean later on I will show you. Advantage of or disadvantage of this is it is available for a specific this thing, and it is a novelty. Okay, may not be ideal thing for us to use it in an examination. So I will now go back again, instead of the egg timer I will just use the word timer and see. So if I want a timer which is available in the market, we have all these things. You see here, I am sure some of you probably have it, it is typically a kitchen timer, but all these are not exactly convenient and are not products which will fill a gap in the market. They are all there, everything what we know is already there. But then this is when one of our students, he was given the problem, he thought a lot about it and came out with it. And online now you have all these things saying, I do not know what it is, the company is called a tomato thing, and then maybe you can use it to make all these various types of objects. So we have beautifully, you can set whatever time and all that. I am sure you have noticed you are not allowed to take it into the what do you call the test hall. So, our student inside decided to make something else. So, before showing the final result, I showed you the necessity for a pen, okay, or scribing device. Then now these things also have come, but it is not likely to be used. Okay. I think you know what it is. It is one of those stylus. It makes sense in case you are using a mobile and you are doing it, but other side it has a normal pen, you can tick and all that. And I am sure several of you probably have access to this. This is nothing. This is something which I can write on the screen, and there is a stylus here, there is a pen here, and then there is something else here, depending on this. I can point out and so on like this. Now, can we make a product which satisfies all this? So, somebody has tried to what do you call work on it. Kindly see the presentation now. Design of an ergonomic pen and pen stand with timer. So, I think it is obvious here. First of all, a lot of time has gone into trying to understand what is the what you call the situation and try to solve small problems at a thing and make an integrated project. Now, when you go to the night, I think early on I may have shown you that what you call one more book timer early on in the thing. If I have it, I will see if I can have it. So, please have a look at this lamp which I have here. Can you show the lamp? You see here, it looks good, and in fact it even works. So, when you want to read a book, use it, but not very good when you want to take it to an examination hall or anything, because the situation is very different and still there are multiple things. So, now coming back to the presentation made by my students, please have a look at the presentation presented by all these things. I acknowledge Suganya, Nilkant, Richa, so on, so many of them, Mahima and so on. The starting point was this saying, see here, even the name has been chosen, probably it is an illuminating, both you get illuminated about your thing, how to improve yourself, plus it is illuminator. So, I say at the left now a little bit of something is there, and you see the beautiful organic shapes it has. There is something here, okay. Then there is something here, there is something here, and then there is a almost an ink blot, looks like an ink blot test. You can spend more time on it later, what an ink blot test is. The thing is, it is a blotch free simple device which can be made. So, why I showed this particular one is, we have this saying, technical objects invariably end up with being crude geometry which are not that pleasant to look at. In some other condition I can do. So, nature, the inspiration always have been smooth curves. So, when you have time and when you have the thing, please come back and check what it is. My what do you call feather is here, and then I have some ripples in a tank. Then I am not very sure whether it is a sand dune or it is part of a fish or it is part of a hand or enhanced. Next you have something which are probably leaves, then you have a bark, then you have some things which are probably organic, then you have random shapes, then this is a feather basket, saying the inspiration for your products should come from various things which you are familiar with. One of the things is straight lines are not so great, because if you see all this inherently there is a beautiful flow in all these things. So, flow should be natural, then even ripples are they are not like what do you call roadblocks. It is just that they make, and then everything should be organic. It is not man made, naturally it comes here. So, now have a look at these things. You can read it yourself. I will slowly move it here. Allow me to what do you call start here. The thing is the students have built as much of intelligence and things which they have built. Now, if you see the organic shape itself, can you see here there are two small dimples here, dimple here, then probably there is a dimple, so that you can hold it and take it, and there is a very attractive thing. Instead of making it into a what do you call a box, which previously I showed you, saying we have a plate which has two things and all that. No, this timer sits here. At the time of going to press or the time of making this, the displays were not organic, but right now it looks like some other way they can make it. So, it is possible for us to, for example, project these from behind onto a screen here, or project a time directly on the wall or on your paper where you are doing, and then even you see various buttons and all, how well it is. And the important thing is it is a pen and a torch with a designer look. You see here, this is a pen and it has two LEDs here, and there are some two black things. I am not sure what the black things are, to light up your desk and serve as a reading lamp along with a pen stand with a digital timer, keep monitoring your time. So, the idea is every time you pick it up, the moment you pick it up, it starts. In case you do not want it to start, you can always use your left hand or anything, or you can give a delay. So, the magic is this concept and this positioning in your mind, saying that is very critical. A product positioning is all that you require. A lot of materials which you buy and all that, you buy them because of two or three considerations. One of them is it has been, position has been created in it, saying I want an object like that. In fact, I am ready to pay a lot of money just for its various other things. So, even when you buy any product, one of the things you get yourself involved with probably the aesthetics of how it looks. So, tremendous amount of the designers often build on this aesthetic thing. Do not look about the designer clothes and all, they have a purpose. The very fact that you have noticed them is partly the purpose is solved. Leaving the designer clothes apart, if you see all the clothes are and I will use the word apparel, and any of the body things, any of the environment, everything and all, especially the built environment, things somebody has worked on it. Now, this is about the reading, what I call reading aid, and then this whole positioning was created before the product was done. You understand, no? It is not as if somebody has made all these things, put them together and try to make a product out of it. You see the thing once again, this whole positioning, the whole thing, that was part of the exercise. The building the other thing was only incidental on this. So, we come with this thing saying, how do you now play around with it? So, in 3 or 4 stages it was presented to their own peers, and their peers have said yes, we will make it like this. I have no clue, I cannot explain what goes on in the mind of the designer. It looks a little like a mouse, and this already has formed up into a nice shape here. Can you see? Already a nice shape has been formed up here. Okay. And this part here probably refers to all the stand part of it. This part here refers to the pen part of it. So, life is good absolutely. And now you see the two black things. First of all, there is an ergonomic grip saying how well you hold it, which is not solved very well in these things. Then there is a stand also. If you want to use it as a reading lamp, you just push it down and then try to use it as a stand without in any way compromising on the utility of the whole thing here. Seen this, now you will come to the second thing. A lot of it not just stopped here. How well you can see it and how well it prints. So, I do not have the original what do you call. Now, if you look at this object, while everything looks fine, this is in principle a flat surface with a mild curve. You will not observe the curve, okay, and that curve is only taken by this one window which is there. In this case, it is a thick acrylic window, which if you make these things touch, and the printed circuit board is probably a flexible PCB or a PCB which is made in 3 parts. So, we have one part here, we have one part here and one part, or it is flexed and attached to here at the back. So, you have this beautiful display which is there, and you have this pen which all this stand and all this, and eventually this was printed. I do not know, can you observe this here? Not very great, is it not? This is the printed the thing. So, if possible, I will spend a little time, I will try to what do you call get this picture out, or if it is a composite I can't do much, and I will see what best I can do about it. You notice here it is not that clean as we think it is, isn't it? Not clean, it is still granular and hawkish. I can just say it still makes a thing, and then at the back, no, I am not selling, I think you know what it is. The students are also trying to mention what these things mean. If you have a chance, look up that logo and decide how it has come. So, you see here various use case scenarios, saying here the LED light is on while it is sitting here, and probably this is what was produced. This is what I have been showing you so far, and this is the actual piece that was they managed to print about it. Why I wanted to show is, now if you see carefully, so lot of effort has gone on how to split it into 2 parts. You have seen it here, no? There is a line which is a split line. Why this line is required is, whenever there something changes, you have it in all your cars also. So, let me look whether I can get a little closer. Now, you will notice that it is not such a beautiful structure, it is still crude, but then obviously time was a constraint, and a lot of time was spent on conceptualizing the product, and now when you want to make it, their best what they could do, the students have tried to build it and probably try to finish it. We insisted that they show it to us in the unfinished state. It is very easy, we just sand it a little, and then after that, first round of let us say some filler similar to what you will use in your car, especially the front bumpers and all, again sand it, again fill, sand it, and later on give a paint and a lacquer over it, and we can get whatever pictures are given there. And other thing you will notice here, can you see what is here? This is charged. Why? By pushing it into this. So, when you are not using it, you just park your pen here, or you put it in the pen stand and the pen gets charged, and then after that you pick it up and start answering your question. So, here you see the what they call the computer, in which in the front they have kept it and they have shown it, and in my opinion it is very good. It is a very good thing, but then this problem with all organic shapes. You understood, no? The original concept had something else. Now the actual printed thing had, you have seen that, no, a small grip, so that you do not drop it, and added to that at the base probably there is a rechargeable some cell inside. So all of these things can easily be built around using the usual things, and then you see the actual use here. You have seen this here as a book, and actually there is a, that pen is there, and then you can light up the book and reading it. So it serves both the purposes of lighting this, or in the case of this is only for practice. But however, when you actually take the administered test, you are using the same what you call that ballpoint pen, and you can use it as a marker. Even if it was a pencil, it is not impossible. And you see here the amount of area that is covered in this and all are neatly taken care of. Now if I go back, you have seen this AAA batteries, but they are rechargeable. They have either way you can use it, charge it outside or put it here. Then LR44 for the timer, which is why you require LR44 for the timer, because we need to hold the time, and typically LR44 is a size, and they come in both 1.5 and 3 volts also. So LR44 size 3 volts also is available, but conventionally you get 1.5 and then 4 for the torch LEDs. So 4 into 1.5 you need a minimum of that, so that the LEDs will work here. So we have all this stuff, super bright white, and then LEDs with circuitry, a timer, a digital timer stopwatch circuit, and various active components, and a small, it is an LED screen. Wrongly they have written LCD screen, probably it was written much before the thing has started. So the advantage being, I have now something which actually works well, and to me it is hanging on top. I do not know whether this actually was placed on the book. To me, no, it looks as if it is added, but then this object looks fine, meaning they have made something which follows the shell and what do you say, the marine and water crustaceans, and probably it is another stand and things like that. So the topic is, I feel, partly covered. Say the topic is partly covered, saying in case you are looking at organic shapes, they are not that easy to produce, but then not all organic shapes need to be very bad. If you see here, this is also a little organic. Can you see here a little organic, to the extent if you see on the side, there are a few things, a few curves or anything, but the essential part has been made as much as possible. This is the earlier things, you understand, no? This is a little earlier things which we are trying to get. Now with this is with the advent of mass manufacturing and injection molded plastic, but then these continue to be the mainstay of most process. I do not know, this may be around the design may be pre Second World War, but this object was acquired in probably 80. So at 35 years old. So thing is, it still works and basically reliable. It works on the timer, and even if you see this, the amount of time that has been spent on making all this, and this is a embossed or deep drawn part, and then this is probably spot welded to this. You understand, no? There is a bit of spot welding, and there are a lot of assembly, and this has to float, otherwise it will not give the knock. And then we have ever present handle. It looks a lot like the alarm clock which we both love and hate, is it not? Very surprising thing is, on work days you do not want to get out of bed, and then on holidays you probably get up early enough. That apart, you see we have certain elements which have been protected here, that have been taken to this, including there is a what do you call a buzzer. There are no watch, okay, there are no this thing. Then you have a time making device, and at the base things have to be, lot of power is required for this. You see, it is not hand powered anymore. While it was a novelty at that time when what you call, right now people are going back to what are retro. So, it does not have all the elements of a retro. Now, having come to the end, I will try to show you something which one of my students who also undertook my course has gone to this company. I am not sure where this company was. I do not know whether it is actually a trade name or it comes from a glass blower there, and you see what he has given me. I am sure you will appreciate it. This is an original dip pen. So, I have a ink pot, I dip it inside, I take it up, and there are certain grooves here. These grooves seem to hold the ink. Earlier when we had the quill system, this quill had those pockets. These pockets used to hold the thing, and then the concept of a pen knife came. So, you want to use it as a pen, you slice it with a knife, and then the pockets hold all the ink, and then afterwards you can start writing it. Now, this one has been made by a glass blower. I mean that thing sounds a little Italian, possibly it is Italian. Now, the advantage being already it has a nice blue color. I just need to dip it in ink. The moment I dip it in ink and take it out, just sufficient ink comes out, and after that I can start writing. And if you ask me how much does it write, these are all generally used as portable, personal portable this thing. So, people used to carry a small book and they write a diary like thing. So, typically it could be, they used to have called quarto and small, what we call a pocket book. Imagine you have a pocket book, but which is open like this and you start writing whatever it is. So, one sheet is a little less than an A4 sheet and this writes every time you do shake it and then keep writing it. By the time you come to the end, and then when you flip over this, you again dip and do it here. So, that is a what I call classical creation. Probably the concept may be, I do not know, 100 or 200 years old. This is my new this thing. I like to hate it. Well, I say every element is there, every element looks crazy in this saying. If I am making a new object, why should I try to make something which is crude, which is taken from the other thing? And I do not mind these things. Now, I have a beautiful what I call stylus here, and depending on if it is a resistive or it is a what I call capacitive screen, I can happily write things. Okay. And then now even this is dispense off, now people can write happily here, capture it and take it back. This apart, since this particular lecture is about how to make rapid prototypes, if we were to create this glass object, if we are to create a glass object, it is very easy to create this in your rapid prototyping. Will you believe it? Extremely easy to create it. All I just need to do is make this, and then you can make all this nice interesting grooves and everything. Probably the scale will not be the same. I need to make it a little bigger, maybe 2 times, and then once it works I can actually scale it down, take it to a glass blower, and very quickly he will blow it and give it to us. It will not be of this size, it costs a lot of money. I do not know, I expect my student has paid between 50 to little higher than 50 euros, and he remembered me saying, see, he gave it. I said, no, I do not want to take it. He said, no sir, it is not for you, kindly show it to your students. So, I can only remember him and wish him the best. Now, coming back to this monitor, let me go through a few other things which also have kept here. Yeah, probably if I have not already done it, I will try to come back to these things later on. I have all these what I call objects. I will see if at least one of them I can print, and this is what I wanted to show you. Maybe at this point now you will understand that this object looks fine, absolutely no problem, but then actually when you print it, chances are it will look like this. Given enough time and given anything, you can always do a little bit of post processing and make it look better. But the issue is not about whether you can directly sell it like this or anything, but the issue is once you have a concept and you have a working model which is made quickly, that is this design probably of this, the what you call enclosure design, probably that student has spent a month, concept as a group have probably spent a month, and then inside the electronics they have probably spent a month, but that was parallel. Hence, finally this whole thing was probably printed in 2 or 3 days. So, in a month you have an object that can be created, including this element of novelty or wow factor in it. You got it, no? Element of novelty and wow factor in it, because if you are to just make a timer which it does not go well, at least I do not like these things. No, let me go back to the internet and then show you some timers which I do not like. So, this is one of my favorite distractions, saying, see, if I type electronic dice, I get all this the funny circuits. I have no interest in a funny circuit like this, neither do I have an interest in a funny circuit like this. Well, it looks nice, absolutely there is no problem about it being a dice, because the focus here is not about how you use the thing, but I am saying except you learn how do you make a dice here. So, we have several of these dice circuits. Now, is there a way of, can somebody make slightly better? You have seen this is a slightly better object. It looks a little like a dice and it has a multiple function also. In this case, it is actually just something which looks like a dice, but the thing is it is probably a night lamp. It counts the time in terms of tens of seconds. So, you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 seconds it shows, or it can be in terms of hours and minutes by changing the color. First color will probably show you the what you call time, second color I mean the hours, second color will show you the other thing. So, we have all these beautiful options. So, to me somehow I am not very happy about those things. This is slightly better. How to make a 7 segment simple blah 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 and all that. You see here we have an electronic dice and all the faces are there. Okay. So, I will show you something which is there, and then you see this. This may or may not be a dice, but still it has a few elements, like you can shake it. When you shake it and eventually when it stops, all the things will go round and you have a time that is displayed on it. So, microcontroller based electronic dice. So, what they have done here is probably only the top the dice what it has been shown there as a some what you call, but inside it is possible for us to have something which actually rolls, and then we make all the stuff in the end. We have a dice which actually works, but no box has been shown here. So, this is the beauty about this sort of projects. This is one more interesting thing, roll activated electronic dice. Seen this, no? You try to roll it, and then once the roll is over, then you will notice something about it. Normally, if you take 5, there is a center dot. So, 1, 3, 5 have center dots. You understand, no? 1, 3 and 5 have center dots in a dice like this here. Say 5 has 1, this thing has, and you have it. But 6, 2, 6 and 4 do not have a center dot. So, what you do about it in this case, people do not mind, they have provided 7 LEDs here. So, roll activated electronic dice also is one of those things which is quite popular. Oh, ignore all whatever is here, but you see here, then you have the patience, you just read through saying how it works and what all you can do with it, different colors, see here, probably it is actually made into a ball, and inside the ball probably there is a counterweight at the base and little flat portion. So, what you do is you shake it just like you would do an ordinary thing, and gently make it such that it will sit back onto the original base, and these things give a what you call a random rotation, and then one random thing comes out here. So, we have things which are built nicely like this. We have so many of these objects. If nothing else, you can make various other things objects with it, you understand, no. So, we have I am very happy to have actually what you call helped you in looking up a few things here, and see here, this to me is something which you can very easily print in a rapid prototype thing. Why rapid prototype and why printing is the outside object being circular, I mean being spherical, you can always sanding it is easy, you understand, no. Take a sandpaper, and in fact wet sanding, if you have you can start with probably 80 or 100 and then finish it up with 300 or 400, and if the material is good, naturally it will stays good. Otherwise you can spray it and lacquer it and you have a beautiful object, and you can build various types of intelligence into it just staying on the table. Still randomly it can what you call change colors, give you numbers and all that. It will be a good conversation piece and a novelty, and people will buy. So, if I go down, I have more and more and more what you call beautiful objects like this here. So, some of them are little simple and some of them are like this, okay. And this is even better, you see, can you see something here? It is lighting up, numbers are lighting up here. Can life be better than this? Then can you have dice with other thing? Can you have a tetrahedral dice, meaning it has 3 triangles and then you make it what you call sphere where it is sliced in 3 portions, and then maybe its behavior is you have 4. So, you can maybe make with 4, which people suspect we do with our grading. So, we have we have A, B, C, D, probably a tetrahedral dice is easy for us to roll and then get a beautiful grade for the students. Incidentally, we do not do like that. We spend a lot of time on preparing ourselves to everything like this, and I was lucky today to have some current things which are popped up on the outside. So, thank you. I will stop here. We will continue in the next session where I will see if I can actually connect my, I have a laptop here. I will see if one of those objects can be created. One of the thing is, for example, this dice which has the 7 what you call openings, meaning I will create 2 halves of a sphere, except one half has a small flat cut. You understand, no? I have a sphere with a flat cut on one half, so that when you roll it comes and sits there, and then I have a display which is on the top, which I may or need not make holes. If it is made of a transparent materials, the LEDs and all can light up from inside. You understand, the LEDs can light up from inside, I can see it. So, if you see several of these latest things like air conditioners which need to stay on in the night, people get distracted by the various blinking lights, displays and all that. As the display is switched off, a display comes on lightly and usually directly behind the panel. There is no red cutout in which you can see everything and all that. So, several of these devices are which are visible outside do not need to have a red window. You can see the color of it directly through a thinned out section of the original material. So, thank you.